The contractions hit like waves, each one stronger than the last. Through the haze of pain, I noticed my phone lighting up on the bedside table. Probably another message from Brady saying he was stuck in traffic. I'd been in labor for 6 hours, and my husband was nowhere to be seen. My name is Selah, and this should have been the happiest day of my life. Instead, it became the day everything fell apart. "Just breathe through it," the nurse coached, adjusting my monitors. "You're doing great." I gripped the rails of the hospital bed, trying to focus on anything but the growing pressure. "Has my husband called the front desk?" She shook her head sympathetically. "Not yet, honey, but I'm sure he's on his way." Another contraction gripped me, and I reached for my phone, needing the distraction. That's when I saw it. Brady had accidentally sent me a message meant for someone else. "Can't wait to see you tonight, beautiful. Just transferred the money for the cabin. Wife's stuck in the hospital, so we have all weekend." My hands trembled as I stared at the screen. The next message popped up. "Oops, wrong thread." Then nothing. "Selah?" The nurse touched my arm. "Your blood pressure just spiked. Are you okay?" I forced a smile, even as bile rose in my throat. "I'm fine, just nervous." With shaking fingers, I opened our banking app. The joint account we'd been building for the baby's future was nearly empty. $15,000 gone, transferred today, while I was lying here preparing to bring our daughter into the world. "The baby's heart rate is increasing," I heard the nurse say. "We need to keep you calm." Calm, I wanted to scream, to throw things, to demand answers. Instead, I took deep breaths and did what any woman in labor would do. I focused on bringing my child safely into this world. Hours later, as I held my perfect baby girl, Noelle, Brady finally burst through the door, all apologetic smiles and excuses about traffic. "I'm so sorry, babe. The I-95 was completely backed up and my phone died." He leaned in to kiss me, but I turned my head. "Don't." My voice was quiet but firm. "Just don't." He pulled back, confusion crossing his features. "What's wrong? Is the baby okay?" I looked down at our daughter. Her tiny fingers wrapped around mine. In that moment, something hardened inside me. "The baby's fine, but nothing else is." "Selah, what are you—" I saw the message, Brady, and the bank transfer. The color drained from his face. "I can explain—" "Save it." I met his eyes, letting him see the steel in mine. "Right now, I need you to leave. Go enjoy your weekend at the cabin. I'm sure she's waiting." "Babe, please, get out." He opened his mouth to argue, but something in my expression must have warned him off. With a defeated slump of his shoulders, he backed toward the door. My phone buzzed, a message from Lucia, my best friend. "Just heard you had the baby. On my way." I typed back quickly. "Bring your laptop. I need your help with something." As Brady's footsteps faded down the hall, I looked at my daughter again. She was perfect. 10 tiny fingers, 10 tiny toes, and a future I needed to protect. The money he'd stolen was meant for her college fund, for her future. My sweet girl deserved better than a father who would betray her before she even took her first breath. "It's just you and me now, little one," I whispered, kissing her forehead. "But don't worry, Mommy's going to make everything right." The nurse came in to check on us, frowning at Brady's absence. "Your husband left already?" I smiled, and for the first time in hours, it felt genuine. He had somewhere else to be. But that's okay. We have work to do, don't we, Noelle? As my daughter drifted off to sleep in my arms, I began to plan. Brady thought he could just walk away from this, that I would cry and forgive and let him get away with it all. He had no idea what was coming. They say revenge is a dish best served cold. Well, I had plenty of time to let this one freeze over. By the time I was done, Brady would learn exactly what happens when you betray the people who trust you most. My phone buzzed again. Lucia was in the parking lot. Perfect. Time to get started. "He did what?" Lucia's voice echoed through my living room 3 days later. She was pacing back and forth, laptop balanced on one arm while Noelle slept peacefully in her bassinet. "Spent our savings on a romantic getaway with his mistress while I was in labor." My voice was steadier now when I said it. Amazing what 72 hours of rage can do for emotional control. That absolute piece of— Lucia caught herself, glancing at the sleeping baby. "What do you need me to do?" I pulled out my phone. I need to know who she is. The messages were deleted before I could screenshot them, but the bank records show everything. The cabin rental, expensive restaurant charges, jewelry store purchases, all while I was in the hospital. Lucia sat beside me, opening various social media tabs. Brady's not exactly a tech genius. If he's been seeing someone, there'll be traces. He's been working late for months now. I scrolled through his recent credit card statements. Look at this. Recurring charges at Cafe Milano every Tuesday and Thursday. That's right by his office. Lucia's fingers flew across the keyboard. Let me cross-reference his social media check-ins. My phone buzzed. Brady again. I'd been staying at my mom's since leaving the hospital, ignoring his calls and messages. Please come home, the text read. We can work this out. I made a mistake. A mistake? I showed Lucia the message. Like accidentally buying a weekend getaway package while your wife is giving birth? Wait. Lucia grabbed my arm. Look at this. She turned her laptop toward me. There was Brady, tagged in a photo from 2 months ago at a company happy hour. His arm was around a woman I recognized from his office Christmas party. Tall, blonde, designer clothes. That's Kelly from accounting, I said, leaning closer. She started working there last year. Lucia's expression darkened. Look at her left hand. I zoomed in on the image. A distinctive emerald ring glinted on Kelly's finger, the same ring that showed up as a $3,000 charge on our credit card last month. That lying son of a... I stopped, taking a deep breath. Okay, this is good. We know who she is. There's more. Lucia pulled up Kelly's social media profile. She's been posting cryptic messages about true love finding its way and waiting for the right moment. Last post was 3 days ago, about a romantic weekend getaway. My hands clenched into fists. While I was in labor. Selah. Lucia's voice softened. What are you going to do? Before I could answer, there was a knock at the door. Through the window, I saw Brady's brother Xander standing on the porch. Hide the laptop, I whispered to Lucia. Let me handle this. I opened the door, forcing a tired smile. Xander, what brings you by? He shifted uncomfortably. Brady's worried sick. He says you won't answer his calls. Did he tell you why? He said there was a misunderstanding about some money. I laughed, but there was no humor in it. A misunderstanding? Is that what we're calling it? Xander stepped inside, lowering his voice. Look, Brady made a mistake, but he loves you and Noelle. Just talk to him. Did you know? The question hung in the air between us. About Kelly? His hesitation told me everything. How long? My voice was ice. Selah, it's not my place. How? Long? He sighed, running a hand through his hair. 6 months, maybe, but he swore it was ending, said it was just a fling. Get out. Selah, now. After he left, Lucia emerged from the kitchen. Well, that was interesting. Very. I picked up my phone, pulling up Brady's company directory, especially the part where his own brother knew for months and said nothing. What are you thinking? I found the email address I was looking for. Sam Martinez, Brady's boss, a man known for his strong moral code and zero tolerance for workplace misconduct. I'm thinking it's time Brady learned about consequences. I started composing an email, and I know exactly where to start. Lucia read over my shoulder, a slow smile spreading across her face. You're going to destroy him, aren't you? No. I hit send on the first email, a meeting request with Sam for next week. I'm going to let him destroy himself. I'm just going to make sure everyone sees it happen. Noelle stirred in her bassinet, making tiny cooing sounds. I went to her, lifting her gently. Your daddy thinks he can have it all, I whispered. Time to show him exactly what he's about to lose. Sam Martinez's office was exactly what I expected, meticulously organized with family photos prominently displayed. He stood as I entered, offering a warm handshake. Selah, what a pleasure to finally meet you. And this must be little Noelle? His smile was genuine as he peered at the sleeping baby in her carrier. Thank you for seeing me, especially on such short notice. I settled into the chair across from his desk, positioning Noelle's carrier beside me. Of course, though I must admit I was intrigued by your email. You mentioned concerns about workplace conduct. Before I could respond, there was a knock at the door. A woman with kind eyes poked her head in. Erin from HR, exactly who I'd hoped would be here. Sorry I'm late, she said, taking the seat next to me. Traffic was terrible. Sam folded his hands on his desk. Now, what seems to be the issue? I pulled out my phone along with a folder of bank statements. I need to discuss Brady's relationship with Kelly from accounting. The room went silent. Aaron's eyes widened slightly, while Sam's expression remained carefully neutral. I see, he said quietly. And you have evidence of this relationship? Bank statements showing gifts, weekend getaways, regular dinner dates. I laid out the papers, including a $15,000 transfer from our joint account, made while I was in labor with our daughter. Erin picked up one of the statements, her professional demeanor cracking. This jewelry purchase, it matches the ring Kelly's been wearing. The company has strict policies about relationships between departments, Sam said, examining the documents, especially when one party handles financial matters. There's more. I pulled up the text messages Brady had accidentally sent me. He's been using company time for their meetings, logging false hours while they're together. Aaron made a small sound of disgust. That explains the discrepancies in his timesheets. I'm not here to cause drama, I said, though we all knew that wasn't entirely true. But I believe the company should be aware of potential financial impropriety. Sam leaned back, his expression grave. We take these matters very seriously. However, I have to ask, why come to us directly? Why not handle this privately? Because next week is the annual company dinner, I replied, watching his reaction carefully. Brady's bringing me as his +1. I thought you should know the truth before then. Understanding dawned in his eyes. The dinner where we announce promotions. The same dinner where Brady's up for senior management, Aaron added quietly. I gathered my papers, standing slowly. I just thought you should have all the facts before making any decisions. Wait, Aaron touched my arm. There's something you should know. She glanced at Sam, who nodded. Kelly's been processing unauthorized bonuses, small amounts spread over months. We've been investigating, but couldn't prove anything. My hands shook slightly as I sat back down. How much? Nearly $50,000, Sam said grimly. We suspected someone in accounting, but had no concrete evidence. Perfect. This was better than I'd hoped. The dinner's at La Maison, isn't it? I asked, though I already knew the answer. Yes, Friday at 7, Sam confirmed. All senior staff and their partners. I lifted Noelle's carrier, preparing to leave. Then I suppose I'll see you there. Selah. Sam's voice stopped me at the door. What exactly are you planning? I turned back, smiling softly. I'm just going to attend a dinner with my husband. Whatever happens after that, well, that's up to Brady, isn't it? As I walked to my car, my phone buzzed with a text from Brady. Can't wait for the dinner next week. Time to show everyone what a perfect family we are. I snapped a picture of Noelle sleeping peacefully and sent it back with the message, yes, let's show everyone exactly who we are. Another text came through, this time from Lucia. Everything set with the boss? Better than we planned, I replied. Turns out Karma's already been collecting receipts. We just need to present the bill. I buckled Noelle into her car seat, kissing her forehead gently. Just a few more days, little one. Then Mommy's going to teach Daddy a very important lesson about consequences. As I drove home, I started mentally preparing for Friday night. Brady wanted to show off his perfect family? Fine. I'd give him exactly what he wanted. One last picture-perfect moment before it all came crashing down. The company dinner would be a night to remember. I just had to make sure I was ready for whatever surprises might be waiting. After all, I wasn't the only one with secrets anymore. La Maison's crystal chandeliers cast a warm glow over the gathering crowd. I smoothed down my black cocktail dress, the one Brady had always loved, and plastered on my best society smile. You look amazing, Brady whispered, his hand possessively on my lower back. Everyone's going to be so impressed. I took a sip of champagne. That's the goal, isn't it? His mother Camilla swooped in, air-kissing both cheeks. Darling, you're positively glowing. And where's my precious granddaughter tonight? With my mother, I replied, watching Brady's face carefully. I thought tonight should be just about us. Perfect timing, Brady said, scanning the room. Sam's heading this way. Sam approached with his wife, his expression carefully neutral. Brady, Selah, lovely evening for a celebration. Indeed it is, Brady beamed, completely oblivious to the tension. I hear there are some exciting announcements tonight. Very exciting, Sam agreed, meeting my eyes briefly. Scylla, you look wonderful. Hard to believe you just had a baby. Thank you. It's amazing what proper support can do for a woman's recovery. Brady's grip on my waist tightened slightly. Before he could respond, Erin appeared with a tablet in hand. Sorry to interrupt, she said, not sounding sorry at all. Brady, could you verify something about those quarterly reports? As they stepped away, Camilla leaned closer to me. Is everything all right, dear? You seem different tonight. Everything's perfect, I smiled, watching Kelly enter the restaurant in an emerald green dress that matched her ring, just waiting for all the pieces to fall into place. What pieces? Camilla's eyes narrowed. What's going on? Mom! Xander's voice cut through the tension as he approached with his wife. And Sella, you look incredible. Thanks, Xander. I turned to face him fully. How long has it been? 6 months, maybe? He paled slightly, catching my meaning. Selah, Excuse me, I said sweetly, spotting Sam signaling me. I need to powder my nose. In the hallway outside the restrooms, Sam and Erin were waiting. It's confirmed, Erin said quietly. We found the trail of unauthorized transfers. Kelly's been cooking the books for months. Sam handed me a USB drive. Everything's here. The financial records, the falsified timesheets, everything. Are you sure you want to do this? Absolutely. I tucked the drive into my clutch. Is the projector ready? All set for after the main course, Erin confirmed. But Selah, Brady's not the only one going down for this. Kelly's family is here too. Good. I checked my lipstick in a nearby mirror. They should all see exactly who they've been protecting. Back in the dining room, Brady was holding court at our table, one arm draped across the back of my chair. Kelly sat 3 tables away, stealing glances in our direction. To think, Brady announced to our table mates, just a few weeks ago we welcomed our beautiful daughter. I couldn't be happier. How wonderful, Kelly called out, her voice carrying just enough. You must be so proud. Oh, I am, I replied, raising my glass. In fact, I've prepared a special presentation for later, to celebrate all of life's surprises. Brady beamed, completely missing the undertone. That's my wife, always thinking of everything. You have no idea, I murmured, watching the servers approach with the main course. My phone buzzed, a text from Lucia. Everything ready? Almost showtime, I typed back. You might want to stay tuned to social media tonight. As we ate, I watched the room dynamics unfold. Sam consulting quietly with other executives. Erin positioning herself near the AV controls. Kelly growing increasingly nervous, checking her phone every few minutes. Time for the announcements. Sam stood, tapping his glass. But first, I believe Sella has something to share with us. Brady squeezed my hand. You didn't tell me you were planning something. Consider it a surprise, I said, standing to approach the small podium. After all, you're so good at those. The lights dimmed slightly as the projector hummed to life. Brady sat up straighter, proud smile still firmly in place. Kelly gripped her wineglass tighter, and Camilla, dear sweet Camilla, finally started to look worried. I took my place at the podium, heart pounding but voice steady. They say a picture is worth 1,000 words. Tonight, I'd like to share some pictures and numbers that tell quite a story. The first slide appeared on the screen, a bank statement dated the day of Noelle's birth. Brady's smile began to fade. This transaction, I pointed to the highlighted $15,000 transfer, was made at exactly 3:42 p.m. on May 15th. I remember the time precisely because that's when I was being wheeled into delivery. A murmur rippled through the room. Brady half rose from his chair. Salah, what are you doing? Sharing our story, honey. Isn't that what you wanted? I clicked to the next slide, a series of dinner receipts. These are from Cafe Milano. Interesting how they're all for 2 people, always on Tuesdays and Thursdays when you were supposedly working late. Kelly knocked over her wineglass, the red liquid spreading across the white tablecloth like blood. But wait, I continued, my voice steady. There's more. This next slide shows a series of jewelry purchases, the most notable being this $3,000 emerald ring. I turned to Kelly. It looks lovely on you, by the way. That's enough. Brady slammed his hand on the table. Oh, I'm just getting started. I clicked again. These are the cabin rental receipts from the weekend our daughter was born. The same weekend you told me you couldn't make it to the hospital because of traffic. Camilla stood up, her face ashen. Brady, what is she talking about? Nothing, Mom. She's just upset. Upset? I laughed. No, upset was finding out my husband was cheating. This? I gestured to the screen. This is justice. The next slide appeared, spreadsheets showing company financial records. Sam leaned forward, his expression grim. These documents show unauthorized bonuses processed through the accounting department. Nearly $50,000 diverted through clever bookkeeping. Would anyone like to explain that? Kelly jumped up, knocking her chair over. You can't prove anything. Actually, Aaron stepped forward, holding up a folder. We can. The audit trail is quite clear. Brady's face had gone from red to white. Selah, please. Think about what you're doing. I have thought about it. For weeks. I turned to face him directly. While I was in labor, did you think about what you were doing? When you emptied our daughter's college fund for a weekend with your mistress, did you consider the consequences? Xander tried to intervene. Maybe we should take this somewhere private. Private? I spun toward him. Like how you privately knew about this affair for 6 months and said nothing. How's that working out for everyone? The room had gone completely silent. Even the servers had stopped moving. I trusted you, I said to Brady, my voice finally cracking. With my love, my future, our daughter's future, and you threw it all away for what? Secret meetings and stolen moments? Kelly burst into tears, running for the door. 2 security guards, apparently summoned by Sam, blocked her exit. The police have been notified about the financial irregularities, Sam announced, standing. They'll want to speak with both of you. Brady lunged for me, but Aaron stepped between us. Don't make this worse for yourself, she warned. You've ruined everything, he shouted. Are you happy now? No, I replied calmly, but I am free. Camilla approached me slowly, tears in her eyes. I had no idea. All this time, don't, I said softly. Just take care of Noelle when you can. She'll need at least one decent grandparent. The police arrived then, their presence sending another shockwave through the room. As they led Brady and Kelly away, I gathered my things. Selah, Sam called out. That took incredible courage. I smiled tiredly. No, it took incredible stupidity on their part. They thought they were untouchable. What will you do now? Aaron asked, helping me with my coat. Go home to my daughter, start over. I paused at the door, and maybe finally get a good night's sleep. My phone buzzed. Lucia again. Just saw everything go down on social media. You're trending locally. Need me to come over? Yes, I typed back. Bring wine, the expensive kind. I think I can afford it now that I'm not funding someone else's love life. As I stepped into the cool night air, I heard Camilla calling after me. I kept walking. Some relationships couldn't be salvaged, and some bridges needed to burn. Tonight wasn't just about revenge. It was about reclaiming my dignity, my future, and my daughter's security. Brady and Kelly would face legal consequences, but I had already won something more valuable, my freedom. The valet brought my car around, and I caught my reflection in the window. I looked different somehow, stronger, clearer, more myself than I had in months. Time to go home to Noelle. After all, tomorrow would bring a whole new chapter, one without lies, without betrayal, and without Brady. The morning after the dinner, my doorbell wouldn't stop ringing. I bounced Noelle gently while Lucia peeked through the curtains. Local news van outside, she reported, and Brady's mother is back. 3rd time today. I sighed, adjusting Noelle's position. How long before they get bored? Considering your video from last night has over 50,000 views? Might be a while. Someone had recorded my presentation on their phone, and now it was everywhere. My corporate karma was trending locally, with my story spreading like wildfire. The doorbell rang again. This time, Lucia checked her phone. It's Erin from HR. Should I let her in? I nodded, settling onto the couch. Erin entered, clutching a thick manila envelope. Sorry to bother you, she said, looking exhausted, but you need to see these. She spread documents across my coffee table, bank statements, transfer records, emails. Kelly wasn't just stealing from the company, Erin explained. She was stealing from other employees too. Small amounts from expense reports, manipulated overtime payments. The forensic accountants have been working all night. How much? Lucia asked, scanning the papers. Close to $200,000 in total. Erin rubbed her temples. Brady had to have known. Some of the transfers went directly to accounts they shared. My stomach lurched. Shared accounts? They bought property together 3 months ago, a condo downtown. Aaron pulled out another document. It's in both their names. The room spun slightly. 3 months ago, I was decorating the nursery while my husband was buying real estate with his mistress. A sharp knock at the door made us all jump. Through the window, I saw Xander standing on the porch, looking desperate. "Don't answer it," Lucia warned, but I was already moving. I opened the door just enough to speak. "What do you want?" "Please," he said. "Just let me explain. Brady's been arrested. Mom's a mess. The whole family is falling apart." "Sounds like a personal problem?" "He's still your husband." "No," I cut him off. "He stopped being my husband the moment he chose her over his family, over his newborn daughter." "But the media attention, the scandal, you're destroying our family name." I laughed bitterly. "Your brother did that all by himself." I just turned on the lights so everyone could see. "There's more coming out," Aaron called from inside. "He might want to prepare your mother." Xander's face paled. "What do you mean, more?" I stepped onto the porch, closing the door behind me. "Did you know about the stolen money, the property they bought together, or were you just covering for the affair?" I didn't." He stumbled back. He said it was just physical, that it would blow over. While he was building a life with her? I shook my head. "You're as blind as I was." My phone buzzed. Sam calling. I answered on speaker. "Scylla, Brady's asking to speak with you. Says he can explain everything." "Let me guess. From jail?" "He and Kelly were arrested for financial fraud. It's not looking good for either of them." Xander grabbed my arm. "You have to help him." I yanked away. "Like he helped me when he stole our daughter's future? When he left me alone in labor to be with her?" "But no." I stepped back inside. "Tell Brady he can explain everything to his lawyer. I'm done listening to his lies." I closed the door on Xander's protests, turning to find Aaron and Lucia watching me. "The company's pressing full charges," Aaron said quietly, "and 3 other employees have already come forward about missing funds." "Good." I sat down, pulling Noelle close. "Let the truth come out." "The media's calling you a hero," Lucia mentioned, showing me her phone. "Standing up to corporate fraud, exposing workplace misconduct. I just wanted my daughter's money back." I kissed Noelle's forehead. "The rest is just karma doing its job." Another text came through, from Kelly's sister this time. "You've ruined her life. I hope you're happy." "Block that number," Lucia said, taking my phone. "Block them all." Aaron gathered her papers. "The company wants to make this right. They're offering to restore the stolen funds plus compensation for damages. Tell them to put it in a trust for Noelle." I stood, walking Aaron to the door. That money was always meant for her future. As Aaron left, I caught a glimpse of the media circus outside. Tomorrow there would be more revelations, more drama, more fallout. But tonight, in this house, there was just peace and the quiet certainty that I'd done the right thing. "Come on," Lucia said, picking up her wine glass. "Let's order takeout and ignore the world for a while." For the first time in days, I smiled genuinely. Sometimes the best revenge isn't just exposing the truth, it's living well in its aftermath. The courthouse steps were crowded with reporters as I made my way inside. 1 month had passed since the dinner, and today was Brady's bail hearing. "Mrs. Thornton, any comment on the charges against your husband?" I kept walking, Lucia close beside me. Inside, the marble halls echoed with whispers as we passed. Everyone knew who I was now. The whistleblower's wife, the woman who exposed everything. "You don't have to be here," Lucia reminded me. "The prosecutors have everything they need." "I want to see his face," I replied. "Just once more." The courtroom was packed. Kelly's family sat on one side, shooting daggers at me with their eyes. Camilla and Xander occupied the other side, both looking years older than they had a month ago. Sam and Aaron were already there, along with several other executives. They nodded as I took my seat. "The company's filing civil charges," Aaron whispered. "They want to make an example of them." The bailiff called for order, and they brought Brady in. He wore an orange jumpsuit instead of his usual designer suits, his face gaunt and unshaven. Our eyes met briefly before he looked away. Kelly came in next, trembling visibly. The emerald ring was gone from her finger, probably seized as evidence. "All rise," the bailiff announced as the judge entered. The proceedings moved quickly. The prosecutor laid out the charges: grand theft, embezzlement, wire fraud. The evidence was overwhelming. Your Honor, Brady's lawyer argued, my client is a first-time offender. He has a newborn daughter. Objection. The prosecutor stood. The defendant emptied his daughter's college fund to finance his affair while his wife was in labor. Using his child to appeal for leniency is offensive. Sustained, the judge said sharply. Brady turned to look at me again, mouthing, I'm sorry. I stared straight ahead. Bail is set at $500,000, the judge announced. The defendant must surrender his passport and remain within the state. Kelly started sobbing as her bail was set even higher. Her father stood up, shouting about injustice. Remove him, the judge ordered, banging her gavel. As the bailiffs led Brady and Kelly back to holding, Camilla approached me. The house is being seized, she said quietly. All their assets frozen. I don't know what to do. Take care of yourself, I replied. That's all any of us can do now. Outside, the media frenzy had intensified. Sam stepped forward, shielding me from the cameras. The company's board wanted you to know. They're naming a new ethics compliance program after you. I almost laughed. The SELA protocol? Something like that. He smiled grimly. They're also offering you a position, if you want it. I'll think about it, I said, though we both knew I wouldn't take it. Too many memories. My phone buzzed. A message from my lawyer. Settlement offer from Brady's team. They want to negotiate. Tell them there's nothing to negotiate. I typed back. He can keep whatever's left after restitution. I just want the divorce finalized. Lucia linked her arm through mine as we walked to the car. You okay? Better than okay. I showed her another message that had just come through, from a publishing house. They want me to write a book. From betrayal to justice, a modern story of corporate fraud and personal redemption. You should do it, she said. Your story's already inspiring people. Might as well get paid for it. A commotion erupted behind us. Kelly's father was being arrested for attacking a photographer. More cameras flashed, more reporters shouted questions. Ms. Thornton, how does it feel to see justice served? I paused, turning to face the cameras one last time. Justice isn't about revenge. It's about truth. Sometimes the hardest part isn't exposing the lies, it's living with the truth afterward. Later that evening, as I rocked Noelle to sleep, another text came through, this time from Aaron. Kelly's taking a plea deal, going to testify against Brady. Thought you should know. I looked down at my sleeping daughter, so innocent and unaware of the storm around her. Your daddy made his choices, I whispered, and I made mine. Someday you'll understand why. The news would call it a victory for corporate accountability. Social media would call it karma. The courts would call it justice. But sitting there in the quiet of Noelle's nursery, I called it something else. Freedom. Freedom from lies, from betrayal, from the weight of keeping up appearances. Brady and Kelly would face their consequences. The company would recover its losses. Life would go on, and we would be okay. More than okay. Because sometimes the best revenge isn't just exposing the truth or winning in court. Sometimes it's simply surviving, healing, and building something better from the ashes of what was lost. The morning sun streamed through my new office window as I finished typing the final chapter of my book. Noelle played contentedly in her playpen beside my desk, babbling at her stuffed giraffe. My phone buzzed. Lucia sending me a news alert. Former executive pleads guilty in corporate fraud case. Before I could read further, my doorbell rang. Through the security camera, I saw Camilla standing on my porch, clutching what looked like a photo album. I found these while cleaning out the house, she said when I opened the door. They belong with you and Noelle. I led her to the living room, where she immediately went to Noelle's playpen. She has his eyes. But hopefully better judgment, I replied, opening the album. Wedding photos, baby shower pictures, family gatherings. Moments that once seemed perfect, now tainted with knowledge of what was happening behind the scenes. Brady took the plea deal this morning, Camilla said quietly. 15 years. Kelly testified against him. I closed the album. I know. Sam called earlier. The house is being sold. Most of the money will go to restitution. She twisted her hands in her lap. I'm moving to Florida, starting fresh. That's good. Everyone deserves a chance to rebuild. Your book. She gestured to my laptop. Is it everything? The whole truth? It's my truth, the parts I lived through. I picked up Noelle as she started fussing, but it's also about healing, about choosing to rise instead of break. The doorbell rang again. This time it was Erin, carrying a thick envelope. Final settlement papers, she announced, joining us. The company's making good on their promise. Noelle's trust fund has been fully restored, plus interest. Camilla stood abruptly. I should go. My flight's in a few hours. She hesitated, then hugged me awkwardly. I'm sorry. For everything. After she left, Erin spread the papers across my coffee table. There's something else. The ethics program we named after you, it's being adopted by 3 other major corporations. Really? Your story changed things, Selah. Made people brave enough to speak up. She smiled. We've already had 2 other whistleblowers come forward in different companies. My phone buzzed again. My publisher this time. Book pre-orders exceeding expectations. Interview requests coming in. Are you ready for all this? Erin asked, being the face of corporate accountability. I'm ready to be myself, I replied, watching Noelle attempt her first wobbly steps between the couch and coffee table. No more pretending, no more keeping up appearances. The front door opened, Lucia using her key, carrying coffee and pastries. Guess who just got served divorce papers in prison? How did he take it? According to Xander, he signed them immediately. No contests, no demands. She handed me a coffee. Guess he finally learned about consequences. Noelle reached the coffee table, triumphant in her first solo journey. We all cheered, making her giggle and clap. That's it, baby girl, I encouraged, one step at a time. My laptop pinged, an email from Sam. Board meeting today. The Selah protocol officially launches next quarter. Thank you for showing us the way. You know, Lucia said, watching me read the email, when you first showed me those text messages in the hospital, I never imagined it would lead to all this. Neither did I. I signed the last settlement paper with a flourish. I just wanted justice. The rest is something better. Erin gathered the papers, heading for the door. The prosecutors want to know if you'll make a victim impact statement at sentencing next month. I looked at Noelle, now attempting to climb onto the couch, fearless and determined. No, I've said everything I need to say. It's time to write a new story. After everyone left, I returned to my laptop, typing the final lines of my book. They say living well is the best revenge, but living truthfully, that's the real victory. Sometimes the greatest act of courage isn't exposing someone else's lies. It's choosing to live your own truth, no matter the cost. And sometimes, when you're brave enough to stand in your truth, you find you're not standing alone. You're standing stronger. Noelle pulled herself up beside my chair, reaching for the keyboard. I lifted her onto my lap, letting her tap random keys below my finished manuscript. What do you think, baby girl? Should we send it to the publisher? She smacked the enter key decisively, making me laugh. I'll take that as a yes. I hugged her close. Time to share our story with the world. Outside, the sun was setting on another day. Not an ending, but a continuation. Because the best stories don't end with revenge or justice. They end with hope.